To explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would now ask unanimous consent that a copy of the letter from truly the founder of IPv4 and one of the founders of the Internet sent on December 14th to the Chairman by Vince Cerf be placed in the record at this time.
Without objection, that will be made a part of the record.
I thank the Chairman. As his letter indicates, and as I'll indicate, my provision, which would eliminate, if you will, one of the most onerous and ineffective parts of the bill, would in fact say that a search engine would not be forced to effectively block the link or deny that the link exists or to derail a link to a accused offending site. And there are many reasons for it. I'll be brief. One of them is that it's very clear that you can have hundreds of thousands of these links in a matter of hours. They can come and they can go. So this would not be something that would be part of a deliberative process. It would not be something that somebody at Justice would look at and say, here's a storefront where they're laundering money. This, in fact, could be as simple as a search of documents that might contain the hyperlink to an infringing site. Now, very often, as we all know, and this will continue happening under the First Amendment even after our legislation, if the LA Times runs an article in their online version, paper, and they're talking about a site that promotes piracy or promotes other things but happens to also include piracy, we would have to look and say, well, Google's going to have to cut off the link to the LA Times page because that link has a link. The nature of the legislation is such that once you say you're going to cut off links, in other words, once you become very China-esque, what you end up doing is you end up starting a snowball effect from which there is no elimination and there's no end. My amendment is very simple. It's intended to say this is not follow the money. It does not follow the principles that have worked in the past, and it is, in fact, part of the entire DNS blocking scheme that is not going to work. I spent more than 20 years, I guess by the time I ended, 30 years in the security business, looking at how to confound people who stole cars. The one thing I know about thieves, and pirates are thieves, is that they will begin working the very next day around what you have. On top of that, when we've considered major legislation in Congress, such as V-chip, something that I worked with when I was in the private sector, we ordinarily said, well, you know, we're going to empower people to turn something off. We're going to empower them to make a decision. That's fine. There would be nothing wrong if this legislation simply said, if you will, that software had to allow people to not know about sites, or that once recognized that there would be tagging. Those are not in the bill. This is a bill about denial in this particular case. Mr. Chairman, if we eliminate and strike that provision, this becomes a bill that is a fraction as controversial. It's a major change. Yes, some will say they need this, but Mr. Chairman, do we really need something that can be circumvented quickly, that the foremost authorities in the industry are weighing in one after another to tell us is ineffective but will hurt the Internet even while not stopping the pirates? So I thank the gentlelady from California, Ms. Lofgren, for yielding, because her next two amendments will probably not be offered if, in fact, this simple, straightforward amendment can be understood and accepted, and we can look then at the rest of the bill in a much more positive way. Without that, I suspect strongly that everyone who is against the bill today will be against the bill to their dying day, and with this change, you begin to make changes in how we view how the rest of the bill could be fixed. And with that, I thank the chairman for allowing us this opportunity and yield back.